Welcome back to another episode of the Final Take Sports Podcast. Got a very special guest on today's episode. We got my best friend, supermom, entrepreneur, my beautiful wife, Noel Robinson.
Hi guys. I'm a little shy.
Now you know you ain't shy. She been talking in front of crowds and everything.
I do. I do.
Okay.
But what's up, y'all? Glad to be here.
So today we're not gonna really recap any sports or anything, but we're gonna give an attribute that's related to sports, which is teamwork. And I know for sure my number one team starts here with my marriage and the household.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're gonna
That's
talk a
good.
little bit. Yeah, we're gonna
That's
talk a
good,
little
right?
bit about teamwork. We're gonna talk about a little bit
Okay.
about entrepreneurship, and we're just gonna have a little fun with it today.
Okay. And to let y'all know, we could talk about sports. I'm not well versed in sports yet. I'm getting trained. I've been trained.
Oh,
Let me just say that much.
she getting up here, y'all.
I have no choice. Let's just say that much. I'm being held hostage over here.
Just
Okay.
just wait till football
Send
season.
help. Because last football season, I didn't have a voice by the time the Super Bowl hit. So, just so you know.
Yeah. Let's tell them a little bit how we met. Give us some
um,
background.
Like you want to talk about prior or what's the timeline?
Let's,
Like in
let's,
the just the
let's give them
beginning.
the beginning stages, a little
Okay.
rundown.
First, we met at church. Let's say that, and it was completely kind of. That was like we. I don't think either of us saw that coming. No, I
Yeah,
know I did. I
came
didn't.
left field for
That
sure.
came. That really came left field
Yeah.
because when we first met, it was at church. We call him Uncle Mark. He does the photography at our church. Goofy, very goofy. If you visit our church, he'd probably be one of the first people you meet. But he was the one that introduced us, and it was kind of thing where I was just playing,
Yeah,
and
and
it
he
was
definitely didn't play with it.
he
He took
did
it
play like so
serious.
he took it serious. But long story short, no, we did meet. He asked me out, and it wasn't ladies. It was not long. Mm-mm. He got my number Sunday. He had the date planned by Monday. Boom.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
did that.
for sure.
You did that.
So
But
speaking of dates, let's talk a little bit about that awkward first date I
that
had.
first okay, because we met at the church, it was very awkward. For one, I had only been at the church maybe I don't even think it had been eight. It wasn't even 5 months yet.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where I'm like, what if this don't work out? Because you know how the Atlanta dating scene can be. And I'm like, I'm not leaving this church. I don't care how long you've been here. I'm not
I
leaving.
definitely wasn't leaving. I was there for about
I know.
10
So it
plus
was just gonna be
years. So
awkward. So on the first date, not really knowing how it was gonna go. Uh yeah, it was weird. It was weird just because we met at the church
yeah, it
and
was.
I didn't know how holy he was.
I mean, it was awkward. I pulled up. Normally I'm listening to my trap music. I got my bankroll, my future, whatever the case may be. So
He pulled up. He had on the '90s playlist.
I was like, I'm not gonna put no gospel on. That's a little too awkward. But I'm gonna put on this '90s R&B playlist to try
So
to keep the mood
I'm in the car and I'm like, okay, this is cute. Yeah, it might have been like some Lauryn Hill, which is the vibe was cool. You can't go wrong with '90s
Yeah,
music. So I see what
yeah,
you
the
did
neutral
there.
field for
But I
sure.
was like, I just know he don't listen to this on a regular basis. Like there, you
I
cannot.
chopped that playlist up maybe like a couple of hours before the date. I was like, "Ooh, you know what? I didn't think about the playlist because
That's
she hear all
crazy.
of this, she might turn away, So
That's mad work. But I did feel that way. I think going into it, I was very nervous. I just do well with not showing that I'm nervous.
yeah, you matched
But
that very well.
yeah, so when we went to the interlock
Yeah, Put Shack.
put
Yeah,
shack and which is that was cool. And I think that's when things started to open up because we discovered that we were both very competitive.
very competitive.
And he'll lie and say that he let me win that night.
Come on, y'all. If I would have won, it probably wouldn't have been a second date. You know how
Anyways,
that goes, so I
that's
let
what
her
he
win.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna let you have that. I'm still
Yeah.
gonna let him have that to this day. But yeah, I kinda yeah, I had you in all them games.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if that's what you want to tell yourself, tell the folks, baby.
Yeah,
Be
there's
my guest.
this it's the truth.
Be my
It's the truth.
guest. Be my guest.
But no, even prior to that, when we sat down to eat, the
Oh yeah.
looking at the drink menu, he sat there and flipped the menu like, should I get
I
me
was
a
like, is she gonna be
drink?
talking about me? Oh, he's a drinker. He drinks
He
alcohol,
drinks
and
liquor.
yeah. So it was just awkward. I mean, you meet somebody in the church and you haven't really, known them or got to really fill them out too much. It's kind of.
But it took off the edge, and then once we discovered that we were competitive, that was cool. And the rest of the night is kind of it flowed very well. We ended
Yeah.
up at a coffee shop, which is crazy. There's a coffee shop out there at the Interlock. If you haven't been there, I highly suggest that you visit. I'll have him put it down in the caption, okay? But because I can't think of the name of it right now. But at the when we that's when we truly had a chance to sit down to
Yeah.
talk and things. Oh, and what was awkward too,
Yeah.
we was like it was things had started to settle a little bit and we were feeling a little bit more relaxed, but it was still like we were trying to feel each other out, just because of the church scene. So I don't know who asked who first, but it was like, so do you curse?
Yeah, that was that
And I'm
was it
like,
was a little awkward.
yeah, I curse.
A little awkward.
It was weird. It was weird. But before the night was over, I mean, we were so relaxed, and it really felt like we had known each other. I mean, way longer than just those couple hours that we had been
Yeah, no,
out.
it was smooth. It flowed the whole night. It was
Hmm.
no awkward. I mean, of course, besides the initial awkwardness, but once we got over that, it was
And
smooth sailing.
there hasn't been a day we haven't seen each other since then.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah, we've been rocking since then,
Yeah,
which in a sense has not been long when you think about it, because we are technically only coming up on 2 years married and 3 years together, which does not seem long,
yeah.
but
Time flies,
it
especially when you got your person. That
when you have
time
your person,
flies.
right? And another thing, even with it being the short amount of time, I actually saw something today that I was listening to. Remember the TikTok that I showed
Yeah,
you? And I related to it because the guy was like, he was coming up on 2 years married with his wife, and though it's the time frame seemed very short, the context of it was
it's filled with a
was
lot of stuff,
was
right?
filled with a lot of healthy things,
Right.
and I can truly say that in this time, considering that a lot of couples, I mean, before
Yeah.
it even get to the dating, establishing anything, I mean, they already at each other's necks, and
Yeah.
we haven't, had that. Not saying that everything's been perfect, but for the most part, I can truly vouch and say that um, we've been on one accord as a
Yeah,
team
I think the
together.
main thing, stems from communication
Yeah,
and, also comprehension because you can communicate all day, but if you're not understanding each other, then it's all null and void.
that's
So
cool.
I
Yeah,
think, we got a couple of things that we do. We try to have like monthly check ins and
that was good. That was
just try
actually
to
his idea too.
yeah, so at the beginning, or not necessarily the beginning, at any point in the month, if you can just sit down and all feelings put to the side, no sensitivity involved. We just tell each other, anything that we may want each other to work on, or anything that may have bothered us throughout the previous month. We talk about it, and we try to see if we can come, to a compromise, or
Right.
we can just work things out and come to a solution. And that's been very, very valuable in our
It
relationship.
has, and I will say another important thing about that is because I believe that some people actually try to do that, but a lot of people get offended
Yeah, yeah, you can't
with,
take criticism.
right, can't
Yeah,
take criticism, and then I think we've talked about this before, where I'm like, if I'm bringing this up to you,
right.
it's
It
because I
bothers me.
I love you,
Right. Yeah.
versus if I keep it to myself, maybe I don't care about this relationship too much if
Right.
I hold, if I'm holding it in. But
Yeah.
if I'm bringing it to you, it's like, hey, I value this marriage so much
Right.
that we got to talk about the hard stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you keep it bottled up, it's not going to do anything but get worse. And when it
Hmm.
gets worse, you just tend to build up, and just let it explode. And that's never where you want to be. So that's
Right.
why when it happens, it may how no matter how little it may be, if it really bothered you, you got to address it, work through it, and then we can move on. I
Yeah.
mean, so
You know,
that's
and
vital.
even with that, when it comes to us, I can appreciate that neither of us are selfish people.
Right.
We're not selfish, and we are very open to exploring, like because I was. Do you think we're very different?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I would
I
say
agree. I
so.
would say we are
Yeah.
very different. We are very different, but you can be different and equally yoked. So I want to make a point of that. But like our differences, and meaning like hobbies and stuff like that,
Right.
we tend to um indulge in each other's. At
Yeah.
least explore. It's not. I don't think it's ever been a time where I'm like, oh, I'm not about to
Yeah.
sit
I'm
down and
not.
watch this game with you. Just
Right.
that is not me. I can't get with that. And it's no.
Yeah, and like I said, same here. I know you're really into hiking, and me, I ain't trying to climb up no mountain now. But I've learned to, this is a benefit to me as well. It's anytime you're getting in some cardio or some kind of form of fitness,
Yeah.
it's nothing but a benefit. And then you get some amazing scenery. We've seen plenty of waterfalls,
Right. So you really,
and I'm starting to,
yeah, and it's the
like it.
same even with sports and just other things that he enjoys. Bowling. I can't bowl. I don't try. I
Head
just.
look like a bowling
No, no,
ball.
no, you look like Kathy Truitt sitting on this chair.
Oh man. Dang.
Yeah.
It's the arm that they're
This,
giving away. Oh man.
hey, you do look, even on the other podcast. Y'all know Kathy Truitt in front of Chick-fil-A sitting on the bench.
I'm gonna keep my arm up here,
See that
man. I
video?
gotta
Okay,
feel me,
first of
man.
all, that's he likes to start stuff. He'll start. See, he's a trash talker. He's a trash talker,
You keep it
and
going,
I know,
man.
and I can't talk a lot of trash because
Oh, she gonna hit you where it hurt.
I can't do that. I can't. I don't know how to joke for real. But he
A little
starts it.
harsh.
Anywho, we was talking about some good stuff.
We're talking
Dang.
about indulging in,
Yeah,
the
back to
stuff,
communication.
Yeah.
You a fool. But yeah, so the monthly check-ins. I guess it's kind of that's good. We're talking about
Yeah.
how we build our what the foundation of our team is. I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, our monthly check-ins, and we did meet in the church. And no, we are not holier than thou,
Mhm.
but Jesus is the foundation,
Mhm.
and that was one thing that um, I can honestly say from the jump, when it comes down to our foundation, has kept us solid.
Yeah, you gotta keep God first. I mean,
Right.
no matter what you're going through, no matter what you may be faced with, God is always the answer. I mean, and it's not just I'm gonna talk to God because I'm feeling bad. You got to talk to Him when you're good, when things are looking great.
Right.
It's a daily
And
process.
even in this marriage, because we went all our lives as individuals and we chose each other. So there was a lot of things that we had to unlearn and be willing to
Yeah,
learn, and individually, our relationships with God is what really helped us be able to do those things.
yeah,
People see marriage and they want, the weddings and all those things, but the foundation of it, the foundation is not how expensive and how glamorous the wedding is. And not knocking that, because you got whatever you like,
right.
you eat, whatever you
Do
enjoy,
you
you have
for
to
sure
do. But just saying, if the heart of it is not
rooted
um
in that, right?
rooted in God and Jesus, then no matter what the surface looks like, it can all fumble. You can
Yeah,
fumble it, really. You can.
that's
Really
very
can.
much so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like we was talking about earlier, some things we kind of indulge in with each other. Like we talked about the hiking. Another thing, I never was a big coffee drinker, and I'm a big time coffee drinker. It's almost like it don't feel right if I don't have my cup for the day. So, speaking of coffee, though, let's talk a little bit about this business that you have, Bond and
Yeah.
Brew Coffee,
Bond and Brew
the
Coffee.
big
Bond and Brew
entrepreneur.
Coffee. You say that like you not the like one of the biggest parts
Hey
of
man,
this.
you the brains behind the whole operations. I'm just here to assist this wonderful business that you got going on.
I get so giddy when it's come time to talk about the business. It's so funny. I think because it's so near and dear to me. And coffee is the product. I do love coffee. Before getting married, that was a hobby of mine. I used to, coffee shop hop, the little mom and pop shops, and we'll go to spoken word events and or just the word or just go to mind my business. Honestly, it was just very subtle and very intimate for me. So Bond and Brew Coffee,
Yeah, give us a
I
little background.
actually, yeah, it was founded. Well, I think the idea of having a space to bring people together was always the vision, years ago. But in 2019 was when it really became more. The vision became clear of actually what I wanted, and that's when Bond and Brew Coffee became. I wrote the name down. And I'm like, this is where we're at. So coffee is the brand, but Bond and Brew Coffee, as far as the name goes, it is very intimate and kind of well. I mean, I guess if you look at it, you won't really know unless I tell you. But
Right.
the meaning behind it is to build, those strong bonds within your community, with family, and within your faith. And those three things are what's kept me grounded throughout my adulthood. Prior to meeting Caleb, our son Micah Otis, I was a single mom, and those beginning years for me, really early 20s when I had him, was rough, was really rough. And if you are a single mom, you kind of know what I mean by that. Like, just especially when you start off really young like that, discovering,
Yeah.
trying to discover
Finding
yourself. You're just
yourself,
finding
right?
yourself. You barely know yourself
Yeah.
in your 20s, and then talk about being a mom on top of that and
Yeah.
having to raise a kid. Woo! Council culture would have took me out if they were to see, if it was how it is right now and they
Right.
saw how I started out in the beginning. Because I was just figuring it out. But um, going through that, I think I not think I know during that time, I was met with kind of the darkest
Yeah.
period of my life. You talk about depression and anxiety and so much stuff, and I had to find my roots back home. And a lot of people see God as big Father, God
Right.
that sits on the throne, which that is
That's
true.
true. Very much so.
He is that. But my relationship that I had to build with God was way more intimate.
Yeah.
And to go back even further, when I say intimate, meaning like my grandmother, God rest her soul, she had a trailer down in Ryan, Georgia. Y'all, the
Yeah.
population
Don't
may
try to Google it. You know.
don't Google it. If you Google the population of Ryan, Georgia, that guy might say what 250 people, and I'm
Yeah.
not exaggerating. But as a child, I was probably like 6, wasn't supposed to have coffee, and sharing that cup of coffee with my grandmother at her brown table in her trailer was a memory of mine, a very intimate memory, and that's how we built our relationship. And fast forward to those dark periods of time where I had to regain, because I grew up in the church, but growing up in the church and having your own relationship with
Right.
God
It's
is
two
is
different
is so
things.
different.
Yeah.
So when it came, after realizing and acknowledging, like, hey, I need to go back
Yeah.
home, and with home meaning back to Jesus. I had to build that relationship, and my relationship with him was very intimate, like coffee shop intimate.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? This is how can I implement
Implement this
this
same thing
this
into
and
right.
that's when I started discovering like my purpose, and people is my purpose. I do, as even though I am shy, I'm not necessarily shy, but I do well in the rooms. I do well in the rooms once I get comfortable. But one thing I noticed was that people really flock to me, and that's not like on a boasting thing, whatever, because it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like
It's yeah.
really, it can be. I've had a few people like recently, like 2 people, like, "Hey, I saw you on
Oh
TikTok,
yeah,
right?"
yeah. We seen that the
Yeah,
other day.
and then somebody else has said it before too, and it's as Like as much as I love that, and in how it's like a humbling kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would never want to be famous, right?
Yeah.
I never want to be famous, but I do very well with people. People tell me their business. I do well with bringing people together. And I'm like, at first it seemed like it was a curse because I'm like, people
Tell me their business
just people
out the
just tell me their
fly. I
business
mean,
out to
random
fly,
person on the street. She just
or
looks like somebody I'm finna talk
I'm
to. I mean,
about to talk to, and pour all this information on, and I'm like, oh, this is heavy.
I've
How
seen
do
it firsthand. I
how,
mean, walking in Walmart, anything
anything,
random.
anybody?
What?
And I'm like, God, how do I use this gift? And that's when the whole idea came together for Bond and Brew Coffee. I wanted to have that space where the things that help me to get through those moments, cultivating community, family, my relationship with God, and building a bond in
Yeah.
those three, aspects of life, and turn it into a coffee shop. And that's where we are.
Yeah.
And from there, so again, that vision started out in 2019. And I fumbled with it, and I had the name, and I did a little thing here, I did a little thing there. It wasn't until I met my husband, y'all.
Oh, don't hype me up.
Listen, it
Don't
was just
hype
like
me
I
up.
had the vessel of it, right? I had the actual the
Framework.
framework. It needed a battery.
Yeah.
It needed a battery. So for a lot of what he's talking about, me being the brains and all this other stuff, like the support, that my husband pours into my vision is just beyond words. Y'all have no idea. It's even sometimes where I um I fall short. I fall short, and he's like, "If you can't do it, I will." So we're gonna get this done because it's a lot of times where I like I try to talk myself out of it, and he's like, "No, we're not doing that. If you can't handle it right now, I'll take care of it." So
And I feel like one thing behind that is, a lot of people haven't found their purpose yet in this life. And it's the simple fact that you have, and I truly know that this is your purpose. I'm going to always back what God has, placed you on this
yeah,
earth to do. And purpose is very powerful because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We're here to fulfill the purpose that God has for us to do. And, we want to make it into heaven. That's the ultimate goal here while
yeah,
we're on earth is to please God. So
yeah.
I'm always back, anytime.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
for sure. So I'm here for that.
And speaking of that, I know we're gonna do a game, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I do wanna one thing, and we probably should have talked about this first, but when we talked about the things that we do to kind of build, to have that healthy foundation with our team, we pray a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like not at church, just that we go to church, but we pray a lot at home, and I mean together, even with our kids.
Yeah.
I mean, we pray a lot, and one thing that we just start, not necessarily, we didn't just start, but
Be being more consistent with
being
it
more
now.
consistent with
Yeah.
it was actually getting into the word, because it is a difference, like actually sitting together and having like Bible study,
Yeah.
having Bible study, because before we would do like the Bible plans
Plans on the app and
on the app,
everything,
on the
right?
Bible app, but as of recently, we started doing like Bible study, and we have. You want to start?
Yeah, yeah. Let's show a little Bible.
So this is one I had right here. I'm gonna mess up. It is She Reads Truth Bible.
And I got the He Reads Truth Bible.
Yeah, so I have the tabs and stuff right now. We still gotta put the tabs in
I
his,
ain't put my
but
tabs in
for the
yet.
She Reads Truth, it gives like the devotionals and a timeline, and it really helps break down the Bible for those people like myself that used to read the Bible and be like, "Out thou, thou," and
Right.
not understand what's going
Yeah.
on. So,
It's gonna break it down in terms of more, everyday life terms and stuff that we
yeah,
use more often.
to help really understand what's being, read, communicating and comprehension,
Comprehension.
and
Got
being
to
able to
comprehend what you're
retain
reading, right?
what's being, read in here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
these are some good Bibles to grab. She reads truth, and then for the guys, he reads truth. Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're gonna get into a little transition here. So with Bond and Brew Coffee, I do want to ask too. What do you see Bond and Brew within the next 3 to 5 years? Like, what is your vision or your next steps, next plans behind it?
So we started with the coffee cart,
That's
which
right.
that was a step out on faith. Um, because in the beginning it was the
Card
card, the
table.
card
It had
table,
that faithful card
that
table.
faithful card table, and started out. Then after that was the cart, which that was an investment, and it was a thing where it's like we have to, if we're gonna do it, we have to do it right.
Right.
We got that cart. That cart paid itself off in what?
Quick.
Like the
Real quick.
by the second event,
Absolutely.
by the second event, and been booked and busy after that, to the point where in the next, you said three
Yeah.
years, at least 3 years.
Three to
Oh,
5 years.
three to
Yeah.
5 years. We're going brick and mortar
Go.
storefront. We want the building with the co-working space to have that environment, to create that environment,
Yeah.
where
Get
you
that
know
real intimate setting.
that real intimate setting that invites faith, invites community,
Right. Hosting spoken words,
spoken
poetry
words,
nights,
poetry nights, Bible study nights,
Yeah.
couples
The
nights,
whole
all
nine.
the whole thing right here in our community. And it is kind of cool because it aligns with, we go to New Vision Christian Church, and they are big in the community. Our church is community
Giving back to
driven, giving
schools and
back. I mean, the whole nine. And I just I take from that and I pour it into the vision with, um, the business, Bond and Brew Coffee as well. Because again, one thing I want to make sure that we do is pour back into our community
yeah.
and
That's
give
what it's
back.
all about is giving back. I don't care
Hmm.
how much you make or how high you get, giving back will always be a thing. Even in a lot of times people think it's always, I got to give back money, 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 money. It's not necessarily always money. It's
It's
other ways
time,
you can give back to people. It could be with time, small acts of service,
right?
anything that can help somebody else out. It's not always me, 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 me,
It's not, and
you got to give
actually, it's
back.
never me, me, me. When we talk about purpose, what the purpose that God gives you is not for yourself.
It's not for
It's
you.
for other people. It's for that servitude,
Hmm.
and that's
I agree.
and that's and not without expecting anything. But I've always, every time we do something for others, especially in times where I'm just not feeling like myself or feeling my best,
Yeah.
I find that as an opportunity to go give, and not expecting anything, but how fulfilling it is to be able to it
Yeah.
pours back into yourself. When you can
Hmm.
pour into others, it's like you automatically get a refill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keeps you charged up.
it keeps you charged up. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about Bond and Brew. Let's play a little game with Bond and Brew real quick. Okay.
Oh gosh.
All right. So I got a little thing here. We're gonna blindly rank these 5 menu items from Bond and Brew. So you don't know what's coming
I
next.
can't believe you didn't let me rehearse for
You
this.
no, you're gonna blindly
That's
rank these
crazy.
things. Okay. All right. So the first one that I
Wait,
have.
what kind of, like, within the business,
Yes,
like
this
just
is
the
all Bond and Brew products.
products? Okay.
All right. So it's 1 through 5.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. So first up, you put them, 1 through 5. The lemonade refresher.
Oh.
Putting you out there like that.
Okay.
1 through 5.
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay. Putting that at 4. All right. We got the hot latte.
Okay, that's easy. Can I give an explanation for why I say it?
Okay. Go ahead. Give me
I'm gonna
some.
say a hot latte because technically, because I don't have my commercial espresso machine,
Okay.
it's not to the toppest
Top of
tier
tier
that I
that
would
is
like it to
going to
be. That
be.
is going to
Okay.
be. So I would give it a 5.
Okay. So we got
Mm-hmm.
5. All right. So next up, we got the white chocolate latte.
Oh.
Cold ice.
Mm. One, two, one, two.
Come on, which one? Which one you putting it at?
Dang.
Which one? You still
Oh,
got two more after this.
okay. Because I don't know what else you're going to say.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
All right, two. I'm going to give it two.
All right. So you didn't keep all your options open. The next one is the matcha latte.
Ooh.
You used 4 and 5 already.
Yeah. Three.
Okay, you putting that at 3. And last, we're gonna go with the
Don't make me.
caramel crunch.
Oh, one.
Okay, all right. See, I helped you out.
I
I helped you
actually
out a
was.
little bit.
I was kind
Helped
of
you out a little
yeah. I was
bit.
kind of saving. I was kind of saving that. Yeah. I
Okay.
kind of like that
Okay.
because one and two kind of tie. It
Okay.
would have been like
Okay.
1-1, but
So you would probably move the matcha somewhere, or you keep it at 3 if you didn't know, or if
no.
you knew.
So uh, what was my four again?
4 was the hot latte. No, 5 was the hot latte. The lemonade refresher is
Lemonade
4.
refresher. I keep it in that order. No, I would have switched
The matcha
the
and the
matcha and the
lemonade
lemonade
refresher.
refresher just because I'm not a matcha girl. Sorry,
I think
I
y'all.
make
I
it. I
think
serve
y'all
it,
be going with
and
the trend. That is some.
I can't do it, and I get all the compliments on my matcha now
Yeah,
because it's a
I
science, and
mean,
I
they
do
be
it
going
well.
crazy
And
with
they
it.
go crazy. I mean, sometimes it's been some events where they was just coming for the matcha over the
Yeah,
coffee,
that
but
one
I'm not
lady
a matcha
had
girl.
3. Remember
She
that?
did. And it had the
Man.
nerve to say, "I'm glad it still got no caffeine." That girl, you about to
Whoa, what?
you okay? Here's another one. Pay
Yeah.
me, please. Thanks.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, business is doing good. I mean, you got a big event tomorrow. You
hmm
got another one coming up on Sunday, and
Yes.
then the one the following weekend. So I
No.
mean,
Yeah.
month of June we're pretty booked.
And speaking of that one, you guys come out. It is June the 28th. It is for the up on early on Main, excuse me, early on Main in the Forest Park Main Street area. And we'll link that as well. So you guys can show up, come support, please.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, I think that's you can leave the people with something maybe motivational or something that that may stick with them.
Okay. I'll leave you with my favorite Bible verse. It's verse. Matthew 5:14 through 16. And it summarizes I'll summarize it. Be a light in this world. And why that resonates with me is when we talked about purpose. Um, God gave everybody a purpose on this earth that allows you to be a light in this world. And I truly encourage you, if you don't already know what the purpose is, or if you have a gift, or if you have a vision and it's just been sitting there, know that God needs you to use that. God's people needs you for that. It's not in vain, and it's not it's not too big, it's not too much. But if God put it on your heart, you need to pursue it
Yeah,
and
even
be
if you think it's too small, it's
too
nothing too
small.
small, man.
It's not too
If
small,
that's what God's put on your heart,
right?
put on your mind,
If it's
go
to cut
for it.
that grass outside, let me tell you something. It's for God's people. So yeah, I just challenge you to be a light in this world, and whatever that looks like for you. Trust God and have faith and have hope. And with everything, He just needs you to start, and He will provide the resources and everything else with it. But it starts with you.
All right. Thank y'all for tuning in for this episode right here. Make sure y'all like, y'all comment, subscribe, share the video with a friend, and y'all definitely stay blessed. And we'll see y'all in the next one.
See you guys. Bye bye.